I have a doctoral degree in engineering. As such, my PhD was on artificial intelligence way back in 1980s. So that would be a surprise for many of people. I came to University of Ottawa on a visiting assignment in 1991. He went to the temple, came with a tilak, and someone has asked him to wipe it off. So I put on tilak only to say that, okay, come and talk to me. How can you convince me not to put tilak, etc.?
You mentioned one thing that you went to jail as well one time. What was that story?
Even there was a suggestion by someone to say that, okay, let's hide the identity by not putting any swastika or not putting any rangoli, so that you don't show that you are a Hindu identity.
Okay. How do you see Hindus in 1991 versus Hindus now in 2025 in Canada? For the people who don't know about HSS, how will you describe the objective and the vision of HSS? Is the RSS and HSS is the same organization? Do you think Hindus are well represented here in Canada, socially as well as politically?
Basically saying that Vishwa Dharma ki jai. So there were a few people asking one of my colleagues, are you coming to Triveni Mandir for this one? Are you not scared that people may attack you? Who is afraid of the Hindus? Phobia is the fear of something, right? If you say, and some other person would say that, okay, you guys from India, or particularly Hindus, you need to go back to Canada Hindu rally that is being planned 2 weeks from now, June 22nd. Yes, they may be Hindus at their homes, or they may go to the temple, they may pray, but when they come out, they don't want to say this, yes, I'm a Hindu. But this rally is purely to showcase the strength and identity of the Hindus. It's not a protest against someone else. There would not be any slogans against anyone. There would not be any slogans for anyone.
What's the tone of the rally in one-liners? And then suddenly this narrative has changed against Hindu. Do you think this happens somehow because of BJP in India?
The youth in Canada who are the second generation, they do have an issue. In India, we used to say that we have the unity in diversity, right? I don't see that. Yes, there is a diversity, but I don't see the unity. Right?
Balaji, namaskar.
Namaskaram.
How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you very much.
You're most welcome, sir, and good to have you on my podcast. I plan you as a guest, in my initial few 10-20 guests, but then, it was like procrastination day after day, week after week. And I'm glad that you took some time from your busy schedule, and today we are sitting here speaking on my English show, Chai with Chander. You are very welcome on my podcast.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Right, great. So, when I was planning for this podcast, the very first question came in my mind was your name, because everyone know you as Balaji. So we'll start from here. So what's your legal name, sir?
My first name is Bala Brahmanandam. Last name is Madaparthi. So full name is Bala Brahmanandam Madaparthi.
Okay, that's a good name. There is any specific meaning of your name?
Yes. If you look at the two parts of the name, Bala, Brahmanandam. Bala is let's say Bala Krishna or Bala Govinda is basically younger part of the person. Bala means younger person.
Okay.
Brahmanandam is the personification of the eternal bliss. We would call it as Brahma Anandam. Brahmanandam.
Okay.
So
which part is your last name?
Madaparthi is my last name.
Okay.
Bala Brahmanandam is one name, one piece. That is my first name.
People took only Bala as it's easy to speak, right? And you are very famous as Balaji from TGIF, right? The great Indian,
the Great India Festival.
The Great India Festival. Yeah. That's a very successful event, happen every year in Ottawa.
Yes.
The initial essence of this podcast was about Hindus, because you are a very loud voice of Hindus in Ottawa, since last few years. But my favorite topic to start with is, I'm very, very much interested in people's immigration journey and their academic initial, career about that. So we'll start from your academic history, and then how did you, ended up in Canada?
Sure. Thank you. I have a doctoral degree in engineering. As such, my PhD was on artificial intelligence way back in 1980s. So that would be a surprise for many of people.
Okay.
So, and I was a professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, until I came here in 1991.
IIT Kharagpur, very famous institution.
Yeah. Indian Institute of Kharagpur. That was the first IIT that was established, and also the largest IIT. I think still it is the largest. I don't think any other IIT has taken over in terms of the size and the different departments, etc.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Artificial intelligence was a thing that time?
Yes, as such, artificial intelligence has been there even before that, maybe even a decade before that. I was mostly working on the theoretical aspects of the AI, as it's called. See, the difference between then and now is that the whatever work that has been done in the last few years, now it has come to the stage where it could be applied. So applications are much more visible now. That has been possible mainly because of two reasons. One is the computing power is enormous now, so it's very fast. The second one is the availability for all the people, that is the networking and the speed of the computers have become have made it possible for the AI to reach the common applications.
Okay.
That's the difference.
My goodness, things are getting interesting here. I mean, IIT passed out guy, and then what was your career look like when you passed from?
Okay, I joined IIT Kharagpur just after my PhD. Effectively, I was an academician in that sense. I came to University of Ottawa on a visiting assignment in 1991. I tried to get on to as a professor in the University of Ottawa itself, but that time it was much more difficult. In early 90s, it was all the economy was not that good. And also there was a requirement of French language to be a tenured professor. So since I didn't know French that time, I was looking for other opportunities. Luckily for me, the tech boom has started in early 90s.
Yeah.
Then I
Which year was that when you came to Canada?
I came in 1991. Okay. And until 1993, I was working at the University of Ottawa as a visiting assigned professor. That is a temporary position. In 94, basically at the end of 93, I moved to high tech, that is Nortel Networks. That time it was called the Bell Northern Research, the research wing of the telecom company. So
that's great. So you are part of Nortel Canada, right?
Yes, Nortel.
So that's Canada. Like the whole IT of Ottawa is equal to Nortel. It used to be, right?
Yeah.
So surprisingly, in my last 1 month, you are the third guest who was a part of Nortel. Okay. So,
15-20 years back, almost every other Indian would have worked in Nortel, directly or indirectly.
Okay, that's great. So that IIT guy ended up in Canada as a visiting faculty, and then you found Ottawa as your home.
Yes.
Okay. So overall, if we speak about your participation in college days, because I know you are very much vocal for Hindus in here, and then Indian culture, Sanatana Dharma and everything, and your physical appearance and your body look and your attire always give me a sense that you might be a revolutionary kind of youth in your college time. Were you part of politics that time?
No, I was not really in politics per se, but I was a staunch Swayam Sevak. There is a Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, an activity which is back in, even now, of course, it's quite effective. So I was quite active in that sense. So
Okay, that's great. So that's a long history that you are connected to this Hindu and Sanatana Dharma thing. Okay, so here is the best point to ask you. So you are very vocal, as I mentioned this third time in this 5 minutes talk, right, about Hinduism and Sanatana Dharma. Was there any point of time or any event in your life which, pushed you in all these things, like you want to be a voice of Hinduism?
Not really.
Okay.
I think that I'm more of a quiet guy, though when the question is asked, I can speak freely without any hesitation, without any being apprehensions.
Okay.
So that's probably the one. But if we have to look for, is there any specific incident which made me take up a stance? Probably then I'm just thinking aloud, recollecting from my past.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think in my school days or college days, in Regional Engineering College, Warangal, that was famous for the left-oriented parties to be active that time. So I was one of the minorities. A few people were opposing that activity. One point was, though I was not really ritualistic or a spiritual Hindu in that sense, one of my friends was attacked when he went to attack in the sense. He went to the temple, came with a tilak, and someone has asked him to wipe it off. So that has sort of triggered, okay, why were these guys asking the other people to do according to against their wishes? So I put on tilak only to say that, okay, come and talk to me. How can you convince me not to put tilak, etc.? So that probably was one triggering point that, okay, I need to stand up for my own rights and convictions. Yes.
Okay, that's great. Do you have anything like activist in college or the university time or the student time? Do you have any kind of story related to that as well? The college, particularly Regional Engineering College Warangal, was famous for RSU, that is the Radical Students Union. Okay. And I was opposing them. Oh, so all right. Yeah, opposing them, not in the what do you call, the philosophical sense, but we are willing to stand up to them whenever it was needed. Okay, that's great. While we were talking off camera, you mentioned one thing that you went to jail as well one time. What was that story? Okay, it's 1975. The then Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, has declared emergency. That was basically June 25th. I remember distinctly. June 26th morning, we were the only college students who boycotted, protesting against the emergency. And no other college did that on the very next day. That is 25th evening, emergency was declared. 26th morning, we have boycotted the classes. And then 5 of the students from REC Warangal were put in jail. Out of them, 3 of them are RSS or the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh folks, and 2 of them were Radical Student Union members. So 5 of us, we boycotted the classes together. So we came onto one common ground, at least on that day. So among the 5, I was one of them. And then I was in jail for almost 4 months. My goodness. And I wrote exams in the jail. Oh. And then still successfully passed it. Yeah. So they made arrangements for exam in the jail? Not for all of them. We protested. We approached the that chief secretary or principal secretary, I don't remember exactly one, to the government, saying that we were just protesting. We don't have any other. It feels it feels so realistic now, because I think I have seen these kind of stuff in some of the Bollywood movie based on emergency, where they showed that few students set their exam while in the jail and everything.
Yeah.
You're the live example of that.
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, most of this, even my friends here in Ottawa probably don't know that. So, this may be a surprise for them.
Okay, that's well good enough. I think we need a full podcast on your professional and your immigration journey from India to Canada. We'll definitely plan one for that.
Okay.
So, here I would like to bring the attention toward Hindu and Hindu population in Canada. Okay, before we even start that, you mentioned about RSS. You were part of RSS in India, and here we call it HSS. So I would like to start from here. Is the RSS and HSS is the same organization?
No, not at all. These are completely independent, distinct organizations. HSS is Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh, as you know. It is a Canada-wide charitable status organization. So the inspiration came from RSS for sure. Like there may be people like me who are involved with RSS back in Bharat, and then here also they are taking active part. But for all practical purposes, there is no real relation between RSS and HSS in that sense. But they said the inspiration is there. The concepts are the same. Many of these ways of working is also similar because we took the best of the working models that are effective there from Bharat, and then we try to implement them here.
Okay, so for the people who don't know about HSS, how will you describe the objective and the vision of HSS? Okay,
HSS called, as we said, the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh. The primary purpose of the HSS is to unite Hindus. Hindu Sangatana is the primary purpose. We see that by bringing the people together, we can make a big difference. And one of the activities that we do as part of the HSS Sakha, we call it as, is a weekly 90-minute activity throughout the year across Canada. They have the Shakas. There, the activities would inculcate in building the character among the people, both women and men. So let's say that we call it as a Vyakti Nirman as part of the main outcome of the Shaka activities. So having this Vyakti Nirman, bringing in the Hindus or the Hindu Sangatana together, we believe that you can achieve the so-called world peace, world peace. So that's why the Sangh, the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh, always concludes each Saka with a slogan or a slogan, basically saying that Vishwa Dharma ki Jai. So we believe in Vishwa Dharma and Vishwa Sankti and Vishwa Kalyan. So
so more or less similar things like RSS in India, but the organization is different and they have their own governing body. So you, as you said, Sakha, so you are leading Ottawa Shakha?
No, I don't lead Ottawa Shakha. Ottawa currently has 2 Shakas. There going to be one more. There is another person who leads the Ottawa as Eastern Ontario. I am responsible. My designation in Shakha is, or the HSS is called Sambhag Sanghachalak. Sambhag is basically Eastern Sambhag, Eastern Canada. So it's 1/3 of Canada, starting from Toronto and Toronto and the eastern part of Canada. So Toronto, Ottawa, and then the rest of Canada on the eastern side.
So how a newcomer or anyone who wants to part of this Shakha or HSS, what's the process for that?
First thing, there is no formal membership for the Shakha. Anyone who would like to be involved with this one, they could contact. We have a website called hsscanada.org. So you will be able to access through that, and then we can.
Good enough. How long you are a part of HSS?
HSS is, I think it started here in 2011, if I remember correctly. I mean, as a formal organization. So I was not even aware of the existence of HSS until 2004, I guess. So I've been there.
Okay.
Sorry, 2011 I said, so 2014, not 4.
Okay. That's still like more than 10 years now.
Yeah.
So you said that you came here in 1991, right?
Yeah.
And now we are living in 2025. How do you see Hindus in 1991 versus Hindus now in 2025 in Canada?
Okay, the Hindus, most of the people who came from India also were mostly Hindus. So in that sense, way back in 1991, if you saw anyone who is Indian looking, we used to go and introduce ourselves and say that, hey, how are you? Or, where are you from? And things like that, even in downtown Ottawa. But now I think we come a long way from there. Now probably we take it for granted that anyone who is walking by could be Indian, but we don't care. The Hindus that were there were, as I say, less in number, and the organizations like the temples in Ottawa, particularly the Hindu temple of Ottawa Carlton, was also established maybe around 35 years back, maybe more than that, maybe around 40 years back. So though the less number of people were there, they were also committed spiritually in many ways.
Okay. So if we overall see now these days, many organizations and community leaders as well, they are speaking a lot about Hindu and the Sanatana Dharma.
Okay.
Why is this happening?
I think this may be more of a reaction to some hidden feelings. Okay, I would say, but I mean, I take the other example.
Okay.
Couple of years back, there were lots of burglaries of the Hindu homes, particularly in 2003 before Diwali.
Okay. So
people were really afraid or scared. And then there was a few community members asked for a meeting with the police. Police high commissioner, not the commissioner, the deputy commissioner was there together. So even there was a suggestion by someone to say that, okay, let's hide the identity by not putting any swastika or not putting any rangoli, so that you don't show that you are a Hindu identity.
Okay.
That someone has suggested. That means that there was so much of what do you call?
There's a clear fear, right?
Yeah. Then of course we said, no, that's not the right way to do. We should be able to identify ourselves as Hindus, proudly say that we are Hindus, but we should also have the courage to stand up to the burglaries or bullies, etc. I think that may have triggered saying that, okay, some people started being vocal to make sure that whatever is there, the hidden fear coming out of this one. But even now, there are many people who are apprehensive. I'll give you an example. Last month, I went to a conference. It's called Canadian National Hindu Conference. It's the first conference that happened in Brampton.
Okay.
That was organized in Triveni Mandir. There were a few people asking one of my colleagues, are you coming to Triveni Mandir for this one? Are you not scared that people may attack you because you're all there for 2 days? You may be sitting ducks for someone who would like to attack you. So that type of questions were also raised by among the Hindus themselves. Of course, none of us were really afraid, but there was that apprehension. Yeah.
So you think Hindu phobia is a thing?
Definitely there are Hindu phobia. I would not say in the right word. The phobia is probably not the right word, because who is afraid of the Hindus? Phobia is the fear of something, right? If you say people are not afraid of Hindus, but some people don't like Hindus for whatever reason it is. Hindu Odia, I think, is the right
Hindu
Otic.
Okay.
Hindu Otic is basically the not the fear, but basically the hatred is the equivalent word. I think that's more of a synonym we should be using, not Hindu phobia. I don't think anyone is really afraid of the Hindus. For nothing to be afraid of.
Okay, so I thought this is a vice versa. Like Hindus are afraid of many things.
No,
okay.
Hindu phobia means people are afraid of Hindus.
Oh, okay.
Because arachnophobia means that you are afraid of what do you call spiders, right? So,
okay. Yeah, I mean that technical definition for sure. Yeah, but the thing how it's working right now, like as you mentioned, like many Hindus are afraid of putting their symbols, and they are afraid of attending any Hindu assemblies. So that's a lot. And do you think this is the right time for people to come forward and speak for themselves?
Yes, I think it's always no one should be really afraid of show identity, particularly in Canada, right? Canada is supposed to be multicultural country, free country, democratic country. So even to think that one is to be afraid, it should not be there. But definitely, this is the not the right time in the sense of one should be never be afraid, but particularly not in this period of time.
So what does Balaji think? What could be the reason why this happened in Canada while it's a multicultural community and still Hindu people are afraid, as you mentioned? Where we lagged, I mean, why this happened socially? Or maybe do you think Hindus are well represented here in Canada, socially as well as politically?
I think one reason I would go, it has nothing to do with the Hindus. Across Canada, many people live their lives in more of in silos. As far as the cultural interaction is concerned, what I mean by that is, so you have friends, colleagues who are in your, let's say, office or the workplace, etc. Right? We go out for dinners, lunches, or a couple of drinks. Socially, we may interact, but most of the time, we don't interact culturally. We keep the heritage or the culture to ourselves. It's not with only Hindus, but with everyone else. That has the lack of understanding, not having enough information regarding the culture of the others would give the bias or the prejudice. I think we need to come out of that. So to answer your question, are the Hindus afraid of this one? I think yes, because of the recent political reasons, I would say.
Okay. Would you like to mention?
Let's say that there was one person that was killed, and that was ascribed to the Indian government's involvement with that. And some other person would say that, okay, you guys from India, are particularly Hindus, you need to go back to India. When that type of threat was given, and the then Prime Minister was trying to defend, saying that he has the freedom to speak whatever he has, and then basically it is giving an indirect hint to the Hindus, okay, we are not safe, because someone could threaten us and there is no reaction to say anything against that, because it's taken as a freedom of expression. And most of the Hindus by nature are docile, or say they would like to keep quiet. They don't want to get involved with anything which is controversial.
That's correct. Yeah, that's
so
good.
If you look at the Hindus in Canada particularly, many of them, I would say, of course, Hindus by extension could be Indians too. They're either in the bureaucracy or in the industry or in the technology or in the career-wise, the business, etc. They all excel. I would say that compared to any other ethnic group, Hindus are doing extremely well. And even they contribute to the community also quite well. But like, for example, the number of people who contributed by voluntarily donating more than $1 million even in Ottawa is quite high. compared to any other ethnic community. But we tend to not to get involved in controversies.
That's correct, because what I see these days, people are talking about the representation of Hindus in non-for-profit organizations, in politics, and even the big government organizations as well. But when I sit, relax, and think about it, there are many Hindus already who are in the high position in the government sector. Maybe not politically very active in terms of MP and MPPs, but there are few of them.
Yeah.
But what I think is, when Hindu gets in this position, he become a kind of non-Hindu face. He don't want to get into the controversy, even if, let's say, there are federal employees and they're Hindu, right? If there is something happening big, like a rally or something, they try to avoid these things. Is it true?
Yes, absolutely. You brought in an example where I was thinking of the same. For example, there is a Canada Hindu rally that is being planned 2 weeks from now, June 22nd. So we requested many organizations to take active role in that or collaborate in that. I myself being one of the organizers for the rally. So many people who are also working in the federal government, they don't want not only their names to be associated with it, which is understandable, but their organizations also don't want to be associated with it. So if there is an organization called some association, I don't want to name them here. So they don't have anything to do with, right? The rally, the Canada Hindu rally is supposed to be to bring out the identity or showcase the strength of the Hindus. It's not a protest against anyone else. But even for that, they don't want to be associated with it because there is the word Hindu, and then they would like to portray themselves as secular. So I think that type of identity crisis is there with many of the Hindus. I can say it very confidently because most of the people that I talk to, yes, they may be Hindus at their homes, or they may go to the temple, they may pray, but when they come out, they don't want to say this, yes, I'm a Hindu.
That's little strange as well. As you mentioned about this rally, let's talk about the rally a little bit more. So you said, what's the title of the rally again?
It's called Canada Hindu Rally. Okay. So the Canada represents the domain of the people that we are trying to bring in. So we expect many Hindus to come from different parts of Canada. So at least we are hoping that at least one person from each province would be there to even represent symbolically. Okay. Yeah. So
that's pretty cool. So this is a kind of a first event happening here around?
Yes. I mean, at least Canada-wide Hindu rally, this is the first time that I am aware of that. There have been other rallies, but they may have a specific purpose of either in consolidation of something or the protest against something. But this rally is purely to showcase the strength and identity of the Hindus. It's not a protest against someone else. It's only to say that yes, we are here together. We have a voice, and we want to show.
So
that
main idea is the voice of Hindus, is it?
The voice of the perception currently is that there is no single point of representation of the Hindu voice to anyone here. But the rally itself is not going to be representative of the voice per se, but at least it's giving an opportunity to come together to show that yes, so many Hindus are feeling either safe or unsafe. We're coming together, and then the other policymakers, decision makers, or politicians, or anyone could get some input from there going forward.
Okay, so here I have two questions. One is, which organization is the host organization here?
So though there is one lead organization, it's called Canada Sanatana Dharma Vikas Foundation. Okay. Along with it, there may be, there are more than 30 such organizations that are there part of the initiative together. So the lead, I would say the lead organization is because someone name has to be there to get the permits and things like that. That's how the initiative came from Canada Sanatana Dharma Vikas Foundation.
Okay.
So, and the one and only purpose of that organization is to have the rally. It doesn't have any other hidden or unhidden agenda.
Okay. Does HSS is also part somewhere?
HSS is also supporting just like any other organizations, but it's not anyway in the forefront, just like other organizations. It has a supporting role.
Okay. So apart from the Hindu citizens here in Canada or Ottawa or outwhere Ottawa, apart from this crowd, are you gonna invite or have you invited people like who are well known in the community, for example in politics, like who are Hindu MPs, who are Hindu MPPs, or maybe the big businessmen who are Hindus are working very well in Canada?
Now, we have not exclusively invited anyone, so it's an open call for all the Hindus. That platform that we are having it on June 22nd would not have any speeches from any politicians or any businessmen or any other prominent people. The chairman of the activity would be welcoming for a couple of minutes, only to show is not going to give a speech, and then one person would be explaining the reason for the speech. Reason for the rally itself. The purpose of the rally would be explained by one person. It takes hardly 5 minutes. So those are the only two speakers effectively there. So in that sense, it's not a platform for any other politicians, as we say, which are the most important aspect currently in Canada. So it's not again for the business people or not for anyone else.
So no personal invitations has been sent yet. Okay, so and where is it? Is it the Parliament Hill?
Yes, it's the assembly is in front of the Parliament Hill, and then we will go for a short procession from the Elgin Street and the Queen Street, and then come back to that one. It should take maybe around 40 minutes to have the complete procession to be completed. So
if someone wants to join, what time are you expecting to assemble?
So the event is from 4 o'clock on June 22nd, and it will conclude by 7 o'clock. So we expect the people to be there by 4 o'clock so that they can come and join. So the rally doesn't have anything else except Bhagavad Dhwaj, that is the saffron flags of the Hindu heritage, I would say, with Om printed on them. And there would not be any slogans against anyone. There would not be any slogans for anyone.
And there will be no march or parade.
The march is a parade. I said procession. We would have the march.
Okay, so that will start from the Parliament Hill.
Start from the Parliament Hill, go to the Elgin Street, Queen Street, Bay Street, and then come back to the Parliament Hill.
Okay, so that's pretty good. So are you expecting any numbers there?
So our initial target was to bring in almost 5,000 people.
Wow.
So 5,000 participants, and then we are preparing to get kurtis for all the people. So we are planning to give a kurta for a gentleman or a kurti for the lady with Om printed on that. Om printed at this one, white kurtas and white kurtis. So that's going to happen. So we are going to give.
So logistics has been done already for all these things.
Yes.
That's a huge task.
Yes. So we have been working on this for the last 3 or 4 months. So I'm quite happy that things are moving.
Okay, that's pretty good. So if I'll ask you, what's the tone of the rally in one-liner? So what would be the tone?
They harmonize the Hindu energy in Canada. We would like to at least.
Okay, is it gonna be a regular practice going further, or how do you see?
We thought this could be what do you call the initial trigger. We hope similar things could happen in different cities every year, maybe taking with Toronto, Montreal, etc. So that
okay. So as we are talking about, the Hindus, and as I earlier mentioned, these days we are talking a lot about Hindus.
Okay.
Do you think it's happening globally, or it's just the Canada?
Globally, there is the awareness of the Hindus. I think it may be because of the rise of the India, or that is Bharat as a country in many ways. So it could be a reflection of that. So earlier, Hindus or the Indians were taken for granted in many ways. Now that they recognize the value of the Hindus or Hindu values, or their what do you call it, the intellect, or they're skilled to lead larger organizations. So that may be it's just like coming out of a hibernation, I would say. The internal strength has been there with the Hindus all along, but they recognizing or waking up for the reality is
Okay. So, why these questions are rising in my mind. There is a thing, Hindu, right? I was born in a Hindu family, raised as a Hindu. I have my surname as Arya. People sometimes judge me like a very core Hindu. There is a thing Hindu, right? And then there is a thing Canadian Hindu.
Okay.
What do you think about these two? Are they different somehow, or we are trying to, make this Canadian Hindu towards Hindu? What's the real essence?
Okay, I don't see Hindu is a Hindu. I don't think there's a Canadian Hindu or Indian Hindu or a Guyanese Hindu, right? Many of these Hindus, they may have come, some of them directly from India, some of them through different route from their ancestry point of view, because we can see that lots of people are there from Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Fiji, etc. They're all Canadians. The Canadian being the citizenship, the Hindu being the let's say call it as heritage, etc. That I would say in that sense, we are Canadian Hindus, but Canadian doesn't dilute or enhance anything that is called the Hindu nature of that one, or Hindutva amongst us. Yeah, that's my perspective. I think I may be.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But sometimes I think is Canadian Hindu is confused, and I'm intentionally mentioning this Canadian Hindu term because, as you said, that for years and years, for decades, you are in hibernation, right?
Yeah.
Then there was a point that we are thinking about our further generations, and then we think, no, we need to speak for them, for ourselves, and that way we will secure our future generations here in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Because we are also part of minority here, so we need good leaders for sure, good organizations to speak for Hindus as well. Being said that, why I said Canada, why I said Canadian Hindu, because every country, sometime I'll think about Australia. A few years back, there were many things happening against immigration and immigrants. And then now in last couple of years, the same thing happened in Canada as well. And when we're talking about immigration, then India is the big participant, right? And then the Indian, they associate them with Hindus, right? So in Canada, specifically, they correlated with Sikhs and Hindus, right? And then suddenly this narrative has changed against Hindu. Do you think this happens somehow because of BJP in India?
Okay, this is my personal perspective. I don't know whether it has more relevance on that, but I do have some, I would say, reason to believe my perspective. I think BJP, because of BJP, I would say that India is prospering. I don't have any doubts regarding that, because there was a political will from the leader to put forward whatever are the ideas, etc., and then make them effectively implementing. So because India is rising, there are many people who don't want India to succeed. So the animosity against India extends to the BJP, and then it extends to the Hindus. I think that's one of the reasons why we get whatever we were getting. So because those people don't want India to succeed or to take the leadership, we may be getting the after effect of that.
That makes sense. Let's focus on youth now.
Okay.
So you have, vast experience. You came here in 1991 and you were active in HSS when you were young. So now this Balaji, what will you suggest for the youth immigrants who are Hindu here, and what's your expectation from them?
So the youths who came recently from India or from any other place, particularly the Hindus, they have one advantage compared to the others. That is, I'll start with my generation who came 30, 40 years back. The main reason that we came here is only for our convenience or our quality of life. There is no other. There is no other reason. Basically, we were not. I would say I'm putting a very broad brush here. We were not that much concerned about the heritage, or we're not that much concerned about being nationalistic, India, etc. But the people who are coming now, they have the awareness that we have a rich heritage. That type of mindset is now there. Earlier, it was not there. Earlier, I would say most of the people were not have enough confidence to raise on their own, though they have that skill set, they have the ability, etc. So the current generation, they're coming with both the confidence and also the knowledge that they have the rich heritage. So they would be definitely better off compared to the many of the older generation people who have been here. But the youth in Canada who are the second generation, they do have an issue. I mean, a challenge. The people who come from India, they're at least in some sense
connected
with sun. Whereas here, as I said, because of the disconnect for the second generation with the roots is part of the challenge. For example, I come from a Telugu family. My kids may not know Telugu language because they are born and almost brought up here. If the language is not spoken at home by the parents along with the kids, they would be missing whatever is written in that language. Effectively, if you don't know the language, you're disconnected with your heritage. So that is one of the challenges that we have in Canada. All the second generation, third generation. I think third generation is comparatively better than the second generation, because third generation people realize that they are missing something. Their identity is being missed. Whereas the second generation, they were trying to align with the so-called Canadian community. There is nothing like Canadian community per se, right? As you say, that it is a multicultural society. It's a combination of different cultures that are coming together. So that lack of identity from the second generation is a challenge.
Okay. That's very, very deep insights. I think that needs lots of efforts from the first generation who came here as a Hindu, and they have much responsibility to forward all these things in the upcoming generations as well. These days a narrative has been built, especially here in Canada, and I have seen in my personal social media as well, because I do have a good reach on Instagram, and then I see the comments whenever I post something related to Hindu. So this question is coming from there. What happened is, whenever somebody talk about unity of Hindus or the cultural rights of Hindus, then the other side always tag us as the right wing. Why is that, and how we can overcome this challenge?
Yeah, the right wing, left wing is more of a political in nature. So, and I would see probably that there is one way of alienating or trying to push us towards the end, saying that okay, you're a fringe
Mhm.
element, so
Mhm.
you're not mainstream. But most of the Hindus are the mainstream.
Mhm.
So whoever could speak out would be doing the right thing, not necessarily the side of the right, but the correct thing as well.
Yeah, but when even let's say I don't have any political background back home in India, right? I'm a Canadian, I'm a Hindu, and let's say I support some cause. What you are doing, let's say that Israeli, I support your rally. So what happens is people will think that they are talking about Hinduism, they are very vocal, they might have some connection to Indian politics, Modi and BJP.
Yeah.
And this way, the youth, when they start doing something, and they just push back.
Yeah. So yeah, that is the challenge or the irony or the issue itself. Just because I am speaking, if I'm speaking something right, my connection with the political party should not be affecting the actual cause itself, right? But people tend to do that. So that is a mistake on their part. I could be as well on the left side, or I could be as well on the right side. But if whatever I am saying is right, follow what the actual effect of whatever I am saying, rather than how why I am saying that. If they feel that there is a hidden agenda that I'm trying to push forward, then it makes sense. Okay, then you can question, okay, are you saying that because you want to take advantage of the situation? But I don't have any hidden agenda. So to put me or at the right winger and then not take the merit of my argument is basically
okay. Even people don't spare MP and MPPs. There's a recent example of our ex-MP Chander, right? When he was speaking about Hindus, and he did many things in the parliament for Hindus as well. So now people says that he is a Modi guy. He is he's still in India. He's thinking he's still in India. He should go back, right? He should join BJP.
Yeah.
So these things are, I don't know how this propaganda they start and people start believing these things. I'm talking about non-Hindus and non-Indian people here in Canada, right?
Yeah.
That way our image that goes down by the time.
Yes, in that sense, we do have a huge hurdle. Most of the Hindus or the Indians, they do lack in narrative setting. Most of the times we are responding to the other narrative set by the people.
That's correct.
So in this context, I would say as Hindus or with the right cause, are almost 40 years behind in terms of waking up, in terms of the strategy, etc. I can say it with a lot of confidence because I've been observing the same thing. So people say completely negative thing, and then it's up to you to overcome that and then come back with the positive thing. So this I would say it's not a conspiracy theory, but you can look at what do you call, if you look at the data with a very clear rational outlook, you can see that these are all put forward to bring you down.
Okay. So you have led many events and you were a part of like many public initiatives in the past. Did you personally face any pushback?
Yes, personally, meaning many people. The first thing people think that if you're doing something, they will say that there may be hidden agenda. You may be doing it for your personal reason or to get advantage out of that. And some other people would only see that unless they have their weight that is put in, or they would like to get the recognition, or they're there in the they can't take the center stage. They don't want to be associated with that. In that sense, I had come across many people who were sidelined themselves because they don't want this to succeed. I don't know whether I made this clear enough.
Okay. Let's divert a little bit. I would like to have few words on many organizations, or I'll say many Hindu organizations here in Canada. I just want to have your personal perspective, right? You've been a part of many events, as I mentioned, right? What do you think? All these organizations, are they moving in the right direction?
Yes, each one of them are moving in the direction according to their mandate. But the most difficult part is that they are not willing to combine the effort with all the others who are moving in the same direction. That is that is not confined to only in Canada. It's there everywhere in the world, including India, that is Bharat. So when I would say there are many organizations whose they're say promoting this spirituality. There are many organizations who are promoting yoga, for example. But even for a common cause, saying that can we come together and then do yoga, no one would come forward. Though all of them have the same goal, same mission, etc. So yeah, there is.
And probably this happens in temples as well. Like one temple, yes, another temple, they are like they're doing good thing both, but when they come together, we don't see these things.
So in that sense, in India, we used to say that we have the unity in diversity, right? I don't see that. Yes, there is a diversity, but I don't see the unity. That's my personal perception and opinion. Yes, people are all doing good work, great work. Many of the, as I said, Hindus, either individually or organizations, that they do the work. But more than the unity, I would say that the Hindus are not organized. For example, if, let's say, the Hindu temple is vandalized, there is no real organized strength to come and support the vandalized the temple.
Okay.
Things. I mean, some people may be doing it anonymously, indirectly, but they're not coming together and saying that okay.
Like one voice, right? Okay. Let's put it in some other words. Let's assume it's like hypothetical situation. If you get control on many things, like, right? So what will you do one change that will make things more organized in among all these organizations? If you get a chance to do that, what will the one change?
What's the one change I can do? If all the organizations listen to whatever I say, what is that? I would say come together. Come onto the single platform to show that you're all together.
Okay. But that's pretty much
that. It doesn't. At least it doesn't exist right now.
Yeah. That, I mean, it looks like a small statement, but efforts are very big to bring all of them on one. And if they comes in on one platform, it resolves so many challenges and problems among whatever is happening globally against Hindus.
Yeah. So as such, even all of them don't need to come. At least 10% of the big, powerful organizations which are doing good, if they come together, that would itself would make the big impact.
Okay. So it's been like probably like more than 45 minutes we are talking. So we are entering into the last part of the podcast. But before we end, I have like a couple of more questions. So the one thing, especially in Canada, right? Like I said, whenever someone is speaking about Hindu or Hindu culture or something, maybe like a little bit more vocal whenever you speak, people start to comparing them with BJP and Modi. But especially in Canada, there is another narrative. If you are more Hindu, then you are opposing Sikh. This is one narrative as well. How do you think about this?
Yeah, that is an absurd thinking, I would say, because when I'm talking about myself, I'm not talking against someone else. So if I say a Hindu, being a Hindu is not against being another person. So that mindset has to be gone. It can only go through education, I would say. So I think maybe because the narrative is set that even coming together as Hindus, if it is there against someone, where is the logic there?
So, that don't resolve anything, right? Especially this happens in the youth because they get trapped very easily. They have so much energy and they just waste in all these discussions when they came here as a student. And we see lots of fights between like people, like Hindu people and then Punjabi guys, and they're like fighting like hell. What happened in Toronto or Brampton last year is the perfect example of that. Okay, so let's jump again onto this rally, Hindu rally. Now, how can people, if someone wants to part of this rally as an attendee or as a volunteer, so how they can reach? So
we have a website called CanadaHinduRally.ca. CanadaHinduRally.ca. If you go there is a registration that is accessible. So you can register. Registration is only for the sake of for us to take care of the logistics. You can also join as a volunteer. We do definitely need lots of volunteers. We do already have many people who are confirmed to be the volunteers. Okay. So yes. Okay, I will put these links in the description so that people can reach. So is there anything else that we should also cover regarding this rally? Did we miss anything? No, I think we have mentioned the few points that are there, because the only purpose of the rally is to showcase our own identity, our own strength to ourselves, and also the public at large. Okay, so that's good. Here we are at in the end of podcast. What would be one short and crispy message from Balaji to Canadians? Like Canadians per se. I could say that from different cultures, there are definitely good values that we can say. From the Hindu community, there is particularly Hindu value system, like maybe the family value systems is one of the things that we could easily adopt, and then we can make it happen. Many of these social challenges that we may have, they may be gone if you take up some of these positive things, particularly from the Hindu philosophy, Hindu heritage. Okay, that's pretty much short and crispy. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast and for your time. And I definitely think that we should do few more podcasts in coming days. It's very interesting to know about your professional history and your experience and the way you stand for Hindu. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Dhanyawad. Namaskar.